Nice to meet you.
From
The fourth caliph?
No, the third caliph. And
okay, the third caliph.
And his big contribution
My
to
sister,
Islam was that he
just before we address it, this is a straw man what he just have said.
A straw man?
Yes.
How is it a straw man?
No, I'm responding.
What he just have said is
okay.
this word
What, did you travel from like?
No,
doesn't it?
No, but
Uthman never burned them.
Can you read again? Can you read again?
I read
Yeah.
was that Uthman burned all different Qurans.
Give me your
This is
email.
not
What I'll do, I'll
different
send you some.
from the one
if there's
Quran that
anything
they
you want to
chose.
read.
Okay, so what is the truth?
Can I ask
Send
you a
you
question?
some.
Did he
Yeah.
burn any Qurans?
Let's analyze. Can we analyze it? My sister allow me.
We can trust.
No,
so we
no,
can,
no.
No, can I
It's-
just?
it's
respond?
scholarly, it's wrong.
We can trust that what he had
I'm here
standardized
every
based
week.
on the advice of the other companions and based on the consensus that he had, that what we have today is the.
Okay. Do you know what's
binding
called red
Quran,
herring?
and that there is only
Because,
one version, and that
I
was
was gonna do a
standardized
presentation on
almost
how-
1400 years ago. I think we can.
Can I
do
put
that.
my
I'll
can I
probably
put
do
my
next
piece?
week.
Can I put my
I'll show you
Yes.
the link because basically the Quran
Was
gets the name
was
Jesus
there
wrong.
Quran
Gets the name Isa wrong. The Injil
before the
wrong.
one made by
There,
Osman?
no, so there were different
and I was gonna do
there
a
were different
presentation
ways
on that,
of
basically.
reciting it. That was
Because
my
Isa does not
You
translate
need
into
to
Hebrew.
analyze what you
So
need.
Yeah.
it's
Can
kind
you
of
read
like
again?
He
history.
Osman.
The Qurans, all the
No,
different Qurans.
we are not
were
going to
burned
go
by
away.
Uthman.
No, we need the first paper you have read from because
remember it.
you
I
are,
don't
you are
need to
making a
read it.
straw man. Can you read it again now?
All the different Qurans were burned by Uthman.
Fantastic. He's talking about
Yeah,
different
Qur'an.
Qurans.
Yeah, there were different ways of reciting it. There were
Now,
different.
do we have a Quran
Yeah, exactly.
before the one that
Because,
was standardized by
in
Osman?
the
Was there
Arab
Quran?
Yes, absolutely. They just
Was there
had-
Qurans?
Yes.
Qurans.
No.
Well, his
So,
name
in
would have.
terms
You
of-
know the
Okay,
name
so-
Zaid ibn
Let's
Thabit.
correct. No, I'm not going to go to a new point
But
unless
in
we end the
Arabic,
one under
they
hand.
use
I mean,
Yeshua.
it's the guy who made the
Yeshua.
Quran.
Pavlov,
Or
you are a
Isha.
man
Made
of
the
science.
Isha sounds similar to
If you're going to
Isa,
make a
right?
scientific
I wouldn't
research,
call myself
But
a
the
man of
spelling
yeah,
of
you believe in
Isha
science.
is exactly
I know,
the
as
same
far as I
Yeshua.
know.
I do believe in evidence.
in
But it's
evidence,
just the
you follow science or not?
pronunciation. But then when you
Thank you
say
very much.
Isa,
You are
yeah,
someone
it
who
sounds
follows
similar, but
science.
the spelling is
If I'm going to
completely
make a
different.
scientific
And
experiment,
So
before I make the conclusion as outcome of the experiment, I must do all the steps of the
yeah,
experiment.
that's a
correctly
translation.
to make
yeah.
my conclusion.
Most of them, some not, but some
Osman
most of them
started
translate.
to
Like
standardize one
Yaqub translates.
So your way of writing it,
from the
Osman,
Hebrew.
It is
burn
a
it.
misleading question. Yeah, I have to.
burn
I say
it.
it's
Yeah, your
misleading.
wordings are not correct. If you want to speak about Islam, you have. If you read in Bukhari, because I have read
but
this in
there's a grain
Bukhari,
of
it doesn't
truth
say
in
what
it.
he's saying.
But yes, you're right. It doesn't say.
So-
I
Yeah,
haven't
but that
looked
was
into it.
before
But
what
there's a grain
happened.
of truth
Listen,
in it,
listen,
right?
listen.
Because there
And
were
where
different
did you get
dialects.
information from?
So-
Excuse me?
Where did you get
Salih
information
al-Bukhari.
from? Just, akhi, allow us. Allow us.
I can give
So,
you the right.
before we go to the new
right
point
path.
now, before we need to stop and end Osman question because this is very fundamental about the authenticity of the Quran. If you are discussing to prove the Quran is not authentic, and if this point has been debunked, and you cannot prove it's not authentic, your other only left option, you're going to accept and agree the Quran is authentic, because the attempt to prove it not authentic has been debunked. So the Quran is authentic. Okay, and for anyone who want to be a Muslim, judge anything you want to
You are
practice,
reducing all
believe
different
in.
possibilities to only two.
Type.
That is a fallacy.
So far, Osman has standardized the Quran to make it the one united book.
Did he standardize
Before
it
the-
by burning all the different Qurans?
There was no different Quran.
By the
Again,
way,
you
he
are
wasn't
repeating.
the one who standardized.
What was burned? Do you know what
It
was burned?
Look, the man that is called Zaid ibn Thabit was Muhammad's scribe,
Yes,
one
he's
of his
one of the
scribes,
companions, yes,
and
Zaid
he's the
himself.
one who was commanded by Abu Bakr to kind of unite all the different scriptures in one book, in one
Yeah.
Quran. This was done in more or less, 632
But then
during,
the-
during Abu Bakr's
And so that was the
No, you are
standardized
wrong.
Quran. Well,
Oh, so
no,
when did Abu Bakr start ruling?
Well,
We are talking about Osman standardizing the Quran. Osman, Abu Bakr made collection of all what was written together.
What did I say?
Okay. Quran was written in time of the Prophet. They used to write it on pieces of wood. pieces of stone, pieces of leather.
Yes.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
It was not.
Parts of it were
It was not a volume.
No,
one.
all of it was remembered.
It was
all
not-
of it was
No,
memorized.
parts of it. What I mean by that is that parts of it were not written, but were just
Pavlov,
remembered.
Pavlov,
I know
sister.
all of it was remembered to a
Can-
certain
all of
extent.
it was
Why
memorized.
I'm not allowed to finish?
Well, she told me something, I answered.
But I'm speaking to you.
Well, am I supposed to just
Okay.
ignore?
So,
Go on, sorry,
while
go
I'm
on.
talking to you, if you are serious about this discussion and you want to debunk Islam, you have to pay attention.
Okay, go ahead.
Right? You're saying Abu Bakr standardized the Quran. This is your second mistake. Abu Bakr did not standardize one copy of the Quran. Abu Bakr gathered all the materials that has been used during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, collected them together.
All right. Again, what
Okay,
did I
there
say?
was no volume
I
made
told
for
you-
the Quran at that
bro,
time.
You're misshaping what I said. I told you that Abu Bakr ordered Zayd ibn Thabit to unite all the different scriptures, all the different, remember
Did he make a volume?
parts.
Did he make a book?
He,
What does it
I mean,
say?
Zayd ibn Thabit did make the
What?
Quran.
Can you read?
He did unite all the different versions, all
Did
the
he make
different
a volume?
parts
Did he make
into
a book?
one.
Again, we are
Scribe
going
did
in
do it.
circles. We need to be specific
Okay, wait,
because it is very
what is your
sensitive.
question? What is your question? What's the...
You are saying Abu Bakr made the Quran as one volume, one book. I'm saying to you, no, this was done by
It wasn't him,
Uthman.
it was his scribe.
It didn't happen in time of Abu Bakr. This is my point.
Okay, when did it happen?
It happened in time of Uthman.
Osman, so it wasn't one Quran before.
It was
All the different
written-
scriptures will not united in one book.
Okay.
Until Uthman.
Now, what is Quran? Can you define the Quran?
It's a book?
No.
What is it?
What is recited from the time of the
Is the
Prophet?
Quran not
Can I
a book
define
now?
for you? You want to speak with Muslims?
Is the Quran
What is
not
the Quran?
a book now?
My friend, you're
Are
talking
you-
about Mus'haf.
So you're saying it's
There is something
scripture?
called
Is the
Quran.
Quran a book or is the Quran not a book?
So
If
are
you
you-
write it down, it become a Mus'haf. If you memorize the Quran, now I'm saying I'm memorizing the Quran. It is a revealed, inspired word to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which has been transmitted by tawatur. That groups of memorizers has memorized it and they delivered it to the generation after them. This is the definition of the Quran. I'm not talking about a printed book or copy.
Does that deny the Quran being a
No,
book?
you can put it in a
I don't
copy.
think so.
You can put it
I think
in a
it's-
book.
I don't think
I
it
think
denies
it
it
is a
either.
book.
Okay, you can call
And
it.
you're not
refers
denying
to
what
it.
I'm
You can
saying.
call
I don't
it.
know
Okay,
why
you
you're...
can call it. You can.
I don't know why you're saying what you're saying. You're not actually denying.
Okay, it is a theological discussion. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's me saying the Quran is a book.
Fine.
Which
If
that
I
is-
memorize,
there's nothing wrong
if
with
I
it.
memorize the Quran, and I'm illiterate, I cannot open the book and read it.
Yeah,
I
if
just
somebody
hear-
reads the book to you,
Let
if
me
some
finish.
or recites
Let
the
me
book to
finish.
you can
The
memorize.
Prophet
it.
Muhammad
It is
Sallallahu Alaihi
true.
Wasallam, was he able to write and read?
As far as I know, no.
Good. Did he have the whole Quran with him or not?
Well, if he wasn't
He
able to
had.
write or read,
So
he
the
wasn't-
Quran,
he didn't write it.
when we speak about the Quran, it is the revealed words that has been inspired by God to Prophet Muhammad.
According to you, it has been
Mesh-
inspired.
okay.
According
Now-
to me, there could be other
Well,
possibilities.
This is
according
our
to
definition.
Muslims,
Yeah, I know, I know.
Recited
Revealed
But this
by
is
God, right?
if you want,
it was,
if you want
it
to.
was inspired to Muhammad, but it was revealed by God to
Revealed, yes.
through the intercessor who's Jibril or Gabriel.
Well, there are different possibilities to it. That's
I
one
know that's-
possibility.
but
Now,
that's the
are you
Muslim
following?
understanding, and
Are you
that's
following my idea that when we speak about the Quran, we are not talking about what was written and produced by Uthman. We are talking about what started before Uthman in time of Prophet Muhammad.
Not recitings.
Now, the recitation. Even
The
Quran
recitation,
Quran
yeah.
can means recitation. as
Okay,
well.
fair enough. No
Are you with
problem
me?
with that.
So it was written on different materials in time of the Prophet.
Okay.
Abu Bakr gathered all the materials in one place, and Osman came later and standardized it and made
What do
one
you mean by
volume.
Okay,
standardized it?
so
Yeah.
so here's where I can jump in. So basically, what happened was because Islam was spreading so fast, and there were various different like recitations based on the different locations of where the Muslims were, right? Like in Al-Sham in Syria, and those parts, people were reciting it in a different way versus in Arabia where it had initially started. So what ended up happening was people were reciting it in different ways. So there were different dialects. but it was the same text that everyone was reciting, because it was only one. There was only one text that was memorized and taught and spread. So what Uthman ended up doing was he standardized the book. First of all, he compiled everything that was kind of piecemeal.
No, that was done before.
Okay.
No,
May I add
that
something?
was done.
No, that was done before.
May I add
Uthman's
something?
Uthman's great. His great contribution to Islam was that he standardized it into a book. He turned the Quran into a book, and that's and then what
Abu Bakr did already.
No,
No,
he-
there is
What
no
did Abu
source.
Bakr
There
do?
is no source. Can
That's
you
not
produce
what
it?
What did Abu Bakr do then?
He gathered all the written materials.
That's what she
He didn't
explained to you
make
already.
a
He's not
volume. He
listening.
didn't make a book.
Yeah. he
Now,
was-
This is the only difference that you mean. If you
But-
gather
but
all the
now
written
we
materials,
need
you
to
gather
make
them
it fruitful.
inside
We need
a
to-
book.
We need to make it.
We are having, you know, a discussion in words that of the meaning of the words. We're
No,
not actually
we're-
arguing with what happened.
No,
It's
but-
semantics
we can.
discussion.
But
No,
but
it's
anyway,
not-
we need
it's
to
not
go slowly.
semantics, though, because there's a difference between compiling papers and just sort of like keeping them in a space and then actually binding a book and
come
turning
on.
it into
Anyways,
Come on.
what is his
Okay,
point?
listen,
And then-
I can
and then
call
like-
this
One second,
a book.
one second,
I can call this a book.
I want to know
What's
what
the-
is.
no,
It's
wait,
not
wait.
a book
So
What
far,
did-
It's not a book until it's complete with all the scripture inside of it.
Okay, if I
right?
tell you these
So-
are my scriptures,
Now-
these are the scriptures which I will use to make my own book, my own prophecies.
But that's not what happened during
this is-
Abu
wait.
Bakr. I mean,
No,
he
no,
had.
wait,
I mean,
wait.
you could say he initially
my
brought
sister,
everything
my
together,
sister,
but he didn't.
my sister.
compile
I
it.
want to.
He did compile them together. did he not?
Another thing that Uthman did, by the way, which is also important to note, is that he sent reciters to different parts of Arabia in order to standardize the way that the Quran was recited as well. And so when that happened, as Islam spread, people knew exactly how to recite it, and that kind of adds to the.
Who was the
Okay,
caliph
okay,
who did that
okay.
again?
Okay.
This was Uthman.
My
Same
sister,
person
my
who
sister, my
standardized
sister.
it.
Just allow me, please.
Yeah.
Allow me, please.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
The floor
Again.
is yours.
Do you mind to continue if I speak with you, or you do not want me to speak?
No, look, I just don't understand.
Because
very
every
well,
time I try to
the
say something,
differentiation
you are leaving
between
me
what I'm
to
saying
the
and what
sister.
you're saying. No, I'm not starting to talk
Okay.
to her
So
out
far-
of nowhere.
so far-
I'm answering her
so far,
questions.
the
I'm talking
points-
to you if she talks to me.
So far, you are making points
That's,
in what is written in your paper.
Sorry?
Why you are afraid to discuss what you are writing here?
He's
not afraid of it at all.
Then please, let's go back.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Then
right
please,
now.
no, I want to discuss what you are writing here. You do not want to discuss what you are
that
writing.
Uthman burned the books, burned the different Qurans that they
It was-
had.
Oh, okay.
Left only
Again-
one version of the Quran.
Again, you are
Is that,
repeating.
wait, is that what you want to discuss?
Again, sister, have I explained what's Quran for him? He's saying
he needs to
Osman
define what he
burned
means by
Quran.
Quran.
Linguistically,
Listen,
what
if
is
you-
Quran?
If
I
you're
define
talking about
for him.
the Quran
Can I speak?
as recitations,
PAVLOV,
as something
PAVLOV,
remembered, then yeah,
PAVLOV.
of course you
Don't
couldn't
make-
burn that. But I'm talking about the
I'm
books
respecting you as
that
an
Abu
intelligent
Bakr
individual.
made, that Abu Bakr
PAVLOV,
collected.
listen, I want you to go today home with a lesson. Quran is not a physical material thing that you can burn.
Okay, there
Are
we
you
go.
with
That's
me?
the problem of this argument.
What
I'm
is
talking about the Quran as a book.
You are talking about what was written in time of the Prophet. It was not one book.
No, I'm talking about what was created after the death of the Prophet. The Quran
After
didn't
the death,
exist when
after the
Muhammad
death of
was
the
alive.
Prophet. What is
Yes.
your source that somebody created something and says Quran after the death of the Prophet? Who told you this? Give me
So
source
once
here.
once again,
Where you learn this from?
Once again,
I'm not going to
once
let
again.
you out of the hook.
Once again, Abu Bakr united all different parts,
Was it written
all
in time of
different
the Prophet or
verses
after?
of the
What he
Quran
gathered?
after the death of the Prophet.
This
Do you
what
agree
he
to that?
gathered. Was it written
Okay, well,
within?
let's go step by step. You
within the
agree
time?
that Abu Bakr united all the different texts, all the different things
No,
about.
I'm
You
not
don't agree
saying
with
this.
that. Well, then you don't agree with
you are saying
Salih al-Bukhari.
you has before anything. You just have said there was materials written after the death of the Prophet.
No, that's
And
not what I said.
Did you hear him
I
saying
said
this?
no. Listen, I told you
no,
the
he didn't
Quran.
say that. I don't
Exactly.
think he
Okay,
said
good.
that.
I told
Say
you.
again? It
pay
is on
attention,
camera
pay
anyway.
attention, Pay attention.
I am.
Pay attention. I told you that the Quran as a book, as a collective of all the things that Muhammad said, was created only after Muhammad died.
There was nothing written in time of Prophet Muhammad, you're saying?
Once again, I told you that the collection of all the different things that
Yeah.
Muhammad said,
Yes.
all the different recitations he gave of the Quran, was only made, that collection of different texts, pay attention to this detail, was only made after Muhammad died.
This is not my question.
Your
Was there
question
writings?
is if there was
writings?
something
Was
written
there
while
anything
Muhammad
written?
was alive.
No, my question: was there any writings made? Anyone wrote anything and said this is the Quran after the Prophet death?
So what,
what
he's
was
asking is
gathered by
people
Abu
write-
Bakr,
Well,
the
it is a
materials that
possibility.
Abu Bakr gathered.
It is a possibility. that
Possibility
people
on
wrote
your
something
mind only. But
in
what
my
we,
mind only. Can
yeah,
you disprove?
because what we
I
are
can't
told,
prove it, but you can.
I'm
also
proving.
disprove.
Allow me. Abu
Okay,
Bakr,
I'll allow you.
all the Quran, all what was written, yeah, from the Quran, it was written in materials and gathered in by Abu Bakr in one room. Okay, he collected it from houses of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, it was kept in the houses of the Prophet wives during the life of the Prophet. After the Prophet passed away, Abu Bakr gathered everything in one room. But he gathered only what was written under the supervision of the Prophet. This is what I'm saying, that nothing was written after the death of the Prophet. I heard you saying something was written
Yes.
from these materials.
Because you can't be
your
sure of
point-
that.
So
We
your
are
point
sure of
is
that.
No,
that
you
there
can't
was
be
no
sure of
new,
that.
Fine,
that
fine,
there was
fine.
no new material written
Now,
after the
Abu
death
Bakr, you are
of
saying
his-
we are not sure. We say
And-
we are
and what
sure.
he's
What
saying
is the?
is-
No, I am
what
not
is-
sure of that either.
Okay,
what
fine,
I'm
fine,
telling
fine,
you is
fine.
that you cannot prove that
Fine.
everything was written
Fine.
under the Prophet's
Just follow the
supervision.
story and you're gonna find out.
To the best
No.
of our ability, we can, though. I
So
mean,
far-
what Pablo's
if you
trying to say
follow
is
the
we don't
Quran,
have
then
any certainty whatsoever in life, period, right? But I mean, based on what we know, based on all of these historical accounts, and there were multiple.
Which
Well,
historical
people
account?
who were alive at the time, people who were, in those circles and who interacted with the Muslims. We know that based on historical events, to
Exactly.
the best of our
And we have
ability,
one of the
this
big
is how
problems.
the
We have
things are.
That is one of the
Well,
big
Pablo
problems.
was saying that, well, you can't be sure
Osmani
about
copy
anything, and
exists in Turkey
you know,
until now.
All right,
how
I
respond to
would
that-
like to recommend
To the
a very
extent
good
that we-
book
to
to
the
everybody
extent that we
who's
can
here.
be
and
No, no,
who's
sure.
watching.
before you
It's called
finish.
In God's Path. It tries to kind of put together the history done by the Christians and the history done by the Muslims. Because before the existence of Islam, before Muhammad's birth and when he started, uniting the Arabic tribes, there wasn't a lot of history written about the Arabs. The Arabs did not write a lot of history about themselves. So most of the history of that time that we have comes from Christians.
No, we have the
Roman
Arabic
Empire.
poetry.
the
Actually,
history
you
of
are
the
wrong.
time is
So who?
oral, and it was written
My
down
si-
later.
My sister, no.
That's a whole other
If you have
science.
studied
I mean,
Arabic civilization,
that's-
Arabs used to record their history in poetry. Every tribe,
Oral. Most of the history was
yes,
oral.
each tribe used
Okay,
to have.
so if it's
I want to make a
oral,
point.
it's not history.
My friend.
History
No, it
needs
is.
to be written.
Who told you that?
Well-
Can you listen, please?
Who told you that? So you're